Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics, and this is your Proof Daily NFT Countdown. A lot to talk about today, actually. I mean, there's some interesting things happening in the world of art. OXDGB selling out these cameras, Boys of Summer, Sotheby's auction where a Rapture basically sold for the first time ever, aside from the time that Dmitry Cherniak sold one a while ago. I think it's all kind of interesting stuff. Let's dig right in, starting off with a quick market overview. Volumes were down a fair bit. Why? I think you just had a little bit less of the DGODs trading, which was kind of bolstering volumes. Again, showing you this kind of zoomed out chart so you can see just how much they've gone down over the past 6 to 7 months. Market share 68% with Blur, a little bit on the low end. Again, I think that when you have the big PFP projects doing a ton of volume, that tends to be Blur's. When DGODs does a little bit less, the volume moves a little bit away. Large cap index was down a lot 2 days ago on the back of the DGODs move. A little bit flatter today. It's a little bit harder to see in these charts. A little bit of strength in Doodles, weakness in Captains, World of Women, Moonbirds. DGODs basically flat, a little up, a little down. Mid cap index down a fair bit due to weakness in cyber brokers and on-chain monkeys, while Killer Bears were up 7%. Again, when the prices get to the range that these are at, that doesn't always mean that much, but that's how it is. With DGODs, let's just have another look at this chart. You can see just how much it is down. And I thought the new news with DGODs was kind of interesting. You basically had ZK Shark. ZK Shark is the founder of OMB, Ordinal Maxi Biz, basically kind of call out Machi. And the reason is that Machi got up to 400 DGODs that he was long, by far the biggest holder. And ZK Shark said, if you send me a price, I might buy 200 of them. So half of his bag. And then Free Lunch Capital, Pimp Capital. Pimp Capital is by far the biggest whale of 2023 in the PFP space. I mean, this guy's bought so much. He's vaulted everything, doesn't really sell. He said, if ZK buys 200, I want to buy 200 too. And then ZK came in and said, here's an update. This was this morning. Machi basically gave no response. So we're not going to do this deal. Overall, I think there's something mildly interesting here, because when NFTs are going down and people are selling every single day, it just starts to snowball a lot. And we've seen this through many, many projects, that when people see other people dump, they pile on. And seeing a bid doesn't always change that, because there are a lot of fake bids. People spoof them. People do things like that. So this idea of saying, hey, we're going to draw a line in the sand here. We are going to buy a ton off you, kind of remove this overhang. That can help people's perception of supply and demand. And NFTs are priced based on perception of supply and demand. So if you get one of these big blocks done, it can have an impact, especially if you're willing to vault them for 6 months like ZK said he was going to. But at the same time, I'm sure it's very hard for people to come to an agreement on price. I think it's very hard for Machi to want to respond to someone who says, send me a message, I don't like you. Generally not someone that someone with a fair bit of pride like Machi is going to respond to. Since these tweets, Machi has sold 50, and we're seeing the price kind of back in the low 4 range. And here's Cyrus saying, looks like it didn't go through because Machi just sold 50 in bids. Last I checked, he owns a little bit more than 200. I also checked how many DGODs have been dumped into bids in August, and the numbers are at 1,150. So Machi owns a fair bit of them, but there are a fair bit more outside of what Machi owns. In terms of art projects, not a whole lot of volume. There were 5 Claire Silver trades, and that's because someone dumped 5 into bids on OpenSea. Also one very strong Chromie Squiggle sale. Let's have a quick look. There's this Chromie Squiggle sale. It's a color spread 5, which is what makes it valuable. That sold for 16.2 WETH. We had a Meridian, which sold for 6.7 ETH. Again, there were 5 Claire Silver trades. Here's one of them, 4.7 WETH. And then we had a nice smoke and something. I'm not sure the exact color palette, but it's a Memories of Chilin, which sold for 5 ETH, well above floor. So nice to see that. Second thing to talk about, let's talk about Boys of Summer, which was a really interesting NFT project that minted out yesterday on the platform Wild. Now, here's an article on Decrypt, which basically described this NFT project as Moneyball meets crypto as an experimental NFT game with the artist Mitchell Chan. And I played the game this morning, and I think that's probably an appropriate description. Here's Mitchell Chan's tweet kind of saying that this has been an incredible joy watching people play this game, buy these NFTs, watching it sell out, and that he could not have dreamed of a better day. So love to see that from the artist. A little bit more about it. I played it this morning. what you can see is you have an NFT or a player, and you have all these different stats that you want to give them. Are they good at hitting? Are they good at running? Do they have good power, throwing, fielding? And then you also have a whole thing where you're allocating their time to schoolwork, social time, batting cage, strength training, because they either go on to be a professional baseball player or go on to other pursuits, and you need them to be good at studying and other things like that for that purpose. Here you can see this is a screenshot that's much further evolved, where the person has, I believe, is an investment banker at this point, and you can see their income and you can see how many followers they have and other factors like that. So you're trying to build these NFT into real life characters. So what was Mitch going for with this project? He says that there's this trend in baseball happening, the Moneyball era, where it kind of infiltrates our life, where everything becomes quantified. This project's not about baseball at all. It's about statistics and quantification. The idea really kind of leads into this project that you can quantify other aspects of your life, put numbers around other aspects of your life. And that's what he wanted to capture here. Everyone makes themselves into data and becomes searchable online, and you can see it all. And if you look at the traits in the NFTs, you also have credit card interest rate, championship, position in baseball, marital status, so many different things. So kind of an interesting little thing. Let's talk about the prices though. Minted out, I believe, at 0.12 ETH, and you had an initial just rocketed up to 0.5 ETH. And it has slowly grinded lower since then. Recent trades around the 0.18. So still up a little bit from mint price, but kind of trending back towards where that mint price was. Yeah, I played it without the NFT, and maybe that's some of it, is you don't actually need the NFT in order to play, but who knows? I think when you do have the NFT, you can get into your character and the results a little bit more. As far as some of the top sales, you have this guy here. I'm not sure why, but he sold for 1.2 ETH, and then a few others that have traded above that 0.5 ETH range. Next thing to talk about, OXDGB. Cameras sell out. Another sellout story here. Another story of not a sellout, but someone selling out their NFTs. OXDGB, friend of the show. We talk about him all the time because he's one of the more prolific artists in the space. And here he is saying that the cameras sold out in 11 seconds. Absolutely insane. Thanks to everyone who minted. Now let's look a little bit at this project. There are 70 of them. He minted them for 0.35 ETH. I believe that's like a 24.5 ETH raise. So pretty nice raise for this market. And they're also a very nice result for collectors. The floor price right now is 1 ETH. With bids at 0.8 ETH. And there have been a fair number of trades, 30 ETH of volume, and they're all the same. So, it's not like people are buying grails. This is just everyone buying the same NFT. A little bit about it. Again, 70 sold at 0.35. Each one right now is the same, but he is going to do reveals, and you can choose which one you want for the longer term. So everyone gets to make a choice. There are 5 series there, and the first series is going to be tomorrow. He calls it Colors. That's available, and 126 options. So 70 cameras, 126 options, and you can change which one you pick all the way up to the deadline. So there's a bit of a rarity game here where you're not going to know if other people pick the ones that you pick until the very last minute. You can see what other people own. He's going to tell you, but if 2 people change to the same one at the last minute, that one might not be as rare. So kind of a little bit of a fun game as people pick which one they want. Also kind of entering this PFP space a little bit. Here is just kind of a banner of a bunch of different colors, what they could look like. But if you look at some of the videos that OXDGB has made, you can see that there are different designs that aren't simply colors. One with the laser coming out, the one in the upper right, obviously a little bit more abstract with that painting feel and more stuff. So I'm excited to see how this goes. Also saw OXDGB on the back of this, go out and buy more art, taking the money he earned, put it into other pieces of art in NFTs. So you always love to see that. Fourth thing to talk about, let's talk about the Sotheby's auction. Sotheby's is continuing to auction off the art from the 3 Arrow Capital, basically the bankruptcy, and they auctioned off a bunch more art yesterday. A couple Fidenzas sold, one at 70.5 ETH, one at 106 ETH. So I'd say these are kind of towards the range you'd expect. The Fidenza, that golf socks color palette, kind of normally trades towards the low end. This was slightly below the floor, but above the bid. That 2-color red and white one, really nice one, selling for a bit higher. A CryptoPunk sold for 56 ETH. And there was a lot more. You got to go to the Sotheby's page. I retweeted it so you can check my feed to check them out. But just a few other noteworthy ones. This Ringer red background, very rare, selling for 98 ETH, about 3.5 times the floor price. You got an Archetype here for 9.9, a Subscape for 4.5. And the one in the lower right is the one I wanted to talk about. This is a Rapture by Dmitry Cherniak. Now, Rapture was a project that Dmitry Cherniak made, I believe, in 2021, at the end of 2021. And the basic idea was that if no one who minted it could even transfer the wallet of it or sell it or list it, none of that. Again, if any single individual did, he was going to release a lot more supply. But that year went by, and even after the 3 Arrow Capital bankruptcy, the bankruptcy proceeding, they agreed to keep the Raptures that portfolio owned in a separate wallet and not get them moved for the sake of this experiment that Dimitri was running. At the end of the day, no one sold, no one moved any. And to celebrate that, Dimitri did an auction of one, which he sold to charity, and that one went for 169 ETH. And since then, we have not seen another sale of a Rapture until now. And the new Rapture went for 32 ETH. So this is really the first time we have seen one of those sell. It sold for 31.75 ETH. I believe these prices are before fees, so that is also worth noting. But still, congrats there. Really interesting buy for whoever bought that. Again, here you can see kind of the basic OpenSea page, and there's 0 ETH of volume because the only other sale of a Rapture was done by Dimitri Cherniak, not on OpenSea, not really kind of on chain in the way that OpenSea would capture. So cool stuff there. That's the one that sold for 169, but interesting to see one sell for about 32 ETH. And let's talk about a few more notable sales, starting off with a Mooncat, a pale white Mooncat. This is a 2017 project. This one sold for 20 WETH. Why did it sell for so much when the floor is around 0.2, 0.3 ETH? It's because it has that pale white color palette, perhaps. If you look at the top sales of Mooncats, the top one ever was the same pale white structure. That sold for 160 ETH. You've also had a couple sales kind of in that 70 to 90 ETH back when things were a little bit more bullish, but still nice to see a 20 ETH sale. When you look at the floor price for Mooncats, you can see that, basically it's around 0.2 ETH. It had been as high as 0.4 ETH at the beginning of the year. But what we're talking about here is one of the grails. There are a whole lot kind of on the floor. I think it's something like 19,000 supply. But love to see an old project doing a nice sale. A Grant Yoon piece called Tequila Sunrise sold, I believe, for 33 ETH. Why do I say I think? It's because I got this by looking at the Ether scans, seeing the ETH that was transferred. When that happens, you never know if there's something else involved, an NFT involved. You never know, but it looked like this was a 33 ETH sale. It was sold to curated friends over there. If I'm missing something in this price, please let me know so I can correct it. But that was what I saw, was that 33 ETH sale on secondary market of that one of one. This piece called 3 Wise Doges by Sarah Zucker. Buyer was Batsoup Yum, sold for 7.69 ETH. A little bit about the piece. For it is wise to spend the rest of the year swaddled in a blanket was the description she used. Signature videotaping by Sarah Zucker, 2020. Original animation in 1991. Sony Video Painter with analog glitch processing on VHS. Digital transferred in 1080p. Single edition high-res looping GIF. So again, Sarah Zucker kind of grabbing some of the older technology into her art now, and this was a secondary sale. So congrats to Batsoup Yum there. A little bit more about Sarah Zucker. Her interdisciplinary art practice merges humor, myth, and mysticism with the interplay of cutting edge and obsolete technologies, which we saw there. She was also a champion on Jeopardy in 2013. So woman of many talents. Love to see that. A couple more pieces. This piece called Rebel Monet, the 10th East Street by NorrieHarman. Sold for 3 ETH. The buyer was Flying Beagle. NorrieHarman's had a couple other sales kind of in that 1 to 3 ETH range. So this certainly at the high end of his range. Love to see that. And then one other sale I wanted to talk about, a piece by BongDoe. I missed the boy and girl who cried and laughed. This sold for 1.9 ETH. We've talked about BongDoe having sales kind of in that 5 to 10 ETH range. So has had higher sales, but he continues to put art out. And this is a fun one. Again, BongDoe is one of those artists where you have to see the live version, the GIF, the animation in order to get the full effect. So I'd encourage you to do that. That is all from me today. I hope you liked the show. If you did, give us a like below. Tell us what you think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the Telegram group. Telegram group is the best way to hear about our show. We put out alerts and only alerts when the show is published. We will be back tomorrow and just about every weekday with another show. Have a great day.